as I as I discuss life, I've got some topics I want to talk about. And if you can relate, just give me a thumbs up. I don't ask for much. Hold on 1 second. Oh God. You know, you know, you know, you know, you know. Anyway, I'm mocking. I was just mocking someone. Forgive me. Oh, forgive me. Forgive me. But oh gosh, I gotta put in my prednisone. I gotta put prednisone in. Never mind the construction work behind me because there's always something going on here. When you're Barbara the Builder, you move stuff and you do your weightlifting by lifting stuff. I never knew that I had the strength that I have. When I tell you, honest, salam alaikum, honest to Allah, honest. I never knew. I was always just a very quiet kid, never an aggressor. People made me aggressive. Society made me this way. I was a very, you didn't even know if I was there. I would actually sit like, where's Patty? Where'd she go? Patty's coloring. Patty's writing a story. She's creating a novel. She's going to have an encyclopedia of novels when you know, she's going to do that. But what I have behind me, um, I have butcher block on my countertop, and it's butcher block from a table that I had from 1990, when I moved to Manhattan, 1990, 93, I think, or 94. Anyway, it's it's an old table, so I'm using that, and and then I had picked up another table from, it was a deal that I found on Facebook Marketplace, and it's also butcher block. So I'm using those pieces now as my countertop. I had something else. I had a stone. I have quartz, but I'm going to use the quartz now as like an island, because I'm not going to sell it or discard that because, well, I'm not buying anything else, and whatever I have here will be used and repurposed, and well, work with that because, well, welcome to America now, and another war of attrition. A war of attrition. Yes, monitor everything I say so that there won't be any live views. Slow down my algorithms because, I guess people don't like what I have to say. And when you talk about real stuff and you talk about politics, they try to subdue people like myself, because um, why allow the voices of logic and the voices of truth and the voices of reality and historical context, factual historical context, why allow that to be dispersed out into the YouTube verse, um, when corporate media pays for people to gloss over everything? So the latest is now that Iran is not accepting a 48-hour deal from President Donald Trump. And did he expect them to accept the deal? No. Iran is the sun. Iran is the sun. The earth, the United States is the moon. You're not going to ever pass the sun. You're not going to pass the sun. Um, you know, it the Iranians are at the point now where there is no trust to ever be had there was never any trust to ever be had amongst other countries, but because of all of the stuff that has gone on, and because of the irregularity of our current admin, and he should take Beano, and because of the irregularity, he needs fiber, but it's that kind of stuff is irregularity is only acceptable when it only affects you as an individual. But this irregularity in behavior is globally affecting everyone. So now, Iran has China backing them up, Iran has Russia backing them up, and the NATO allies are not going to get involved. And well, that's what we have here. So they did not strategically, geopolitically, um, ecologically, environmentally think of the impact of their actions. And now the economy is going to be very, very irregular. Irregular to the on the high end of irregularity, you know? Well, I mean, people need to really start watching accurate news reporting and not watch the glossed version. Speaking of glossed version, I have been there's been some ongoing nonsense going on here where I reside, and apparently there's some issue again now with this, the infamous shed that's on my property where they now want me to pay another permit fee, and they want me to go through this entire process again. So now this borders on harassment, this borders on violation of my civil rights, and this borders on a lot of incompetence from a little town here that thinks that they can like try to harass people. So that in turn is going to result in legal action, okay? Because they continue to play games. How do you have to go through this kind of nonsense again when you already did it 2 years ago, which ended up costing me quite a few money that wasn't necessary, but because all these people are linked in together, I don't trust not one of them. You understand? So for every person here in Wappinger Falls who has been harassed by this town with complaints about needing permits for existing structures or existing materials that have already been on your home. The last time I was in this Karenville office here, because it's the Karen Chronicles, the last time I was in Karenville, what happened was there was an elderly gentleman there, and he was talking about, he was speaking to the people with the permits, and he says, yeah, I can't believe this. They want me to now pay for siding that was on my house when I bought my house 25 years ago. What? 25 years ago. Yeah. There's gonna be some stuff going on here. Mm-hmm. Because whatever your intended goal was, whatever your intended intent was, well, you already performed the show. You already performed the show by from the last episode, when you arrived saying that this was illegal because there was no permit, but it was on my property when I purchased the home. It was on the listing. It was on the listing, okay? As was my legal survey, which I had to pay for when I purchased the home, which y'all did not accept. Mm-hmm. Yeah, these little townships here, what's going on is since Donald Trump became, was running, and these people up here, they figured like, well, we're Republicans up here, and we're gonna harass this homeowner. And then I had somebody come here from the town because there's an issue with the water backing up because of a capital improvement project that hasn't been worked on, and constant flooding. This man comes to my property, and then he proceeds to call me to tell me, "Oh yeah, you got that sign, no kings." I'm like, "Yeah, what about it? Was that the purpose of you coming to my property? You're here for a water problem, all right?" And then 2 weeks later, I get a letter. And then what had happened too, I had gone there to pay a bill, and as I was entering into the building there at Caronville, this man that I thought was on the board, which he actually is, he was telling me something, and I told him the story of what happened with these people, on how they harassed me, and how I started a website, and how I'm going to cast for characters, because these people, they were not responsible for the budget, and they did some shady stuff. So, and in order for them to correct the deficit, in order for them to correct the deficit, what they're doing is they're going around, and they're picking out houses, and saying, well, you got to pay for this and you got to pay for that. That was there. That's illegal. You got to do this. You got to do that, so that you pay the fees. You understand? You understand? Everybody, till next time. Thanks for watching. Bye. Have a good one. Stay safe, stay well, stay hydrated, and always do the right thing. Oh, you know, you know. I'm mocking someone. Allah, forgive me. Till next time.